Hi, and welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast in association with CarWow, the online car-changing destination. Together, we share tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your department, dealership, or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett, or some of you might already know me as Skippy. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of Selling in the Motor Trade. Today I'm joined with Andrew Clark, our Operations Director of Simco Training, and we're going to talk all things about stock, used cars, and where do you get them from? So Andrew, welcome again.
Thanks, Skip. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very
Excellent.
good. Now, this is a topic that going around into dealerships, our clients, it's coming up all the time, and I just want to explore where are we getting our used car stock from, and what's the issues out there? What's your views? What's your take on it?
It's quite interesting because it doesn't seem to matter which manufacturer that we're working with or which dealer group we're working with. They all are coming up with the same issues at this point in time. And that is they are really struggling to find nice 3, 4-year-old cars, which are nice spec, nice mileage, good history. And there seems to be a real challenge around it. And talking to lots of our used car managers that we work with and within dealer groups around the country, um, it seems to be that is their biggest challenge today, to actually fill the forecourt full of stock, which they can turn and ultimately, be good cars for the business and generate revenue.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to now be talking though is, are we having a bit of a hangover from COVID-19? And I know
Yeah.
that's a dirty word and we don't talk about it anymore. But if you go back to 2020, the market was a challenging place in Q1. We all panicked in Q2 because of the country got shut down.
Hmm.
There was then a bit of Q3. There was massive discounts, push used cars out, get rid of used cars. I know Motability Operations, they dumped a load of stock into the market, and then because we couldn't spend money, there was a bit more uptake on people wanting to change their car.
And
There was a
remember,
set.
it's a long time ago, but people didn't want to go on public transport. They wanted to be
No,
in their own car, and they were nervous about public transport, and um, that kicked.
and then add to that, it was almost a perfect storm. There was a semiconductor issue. So where there was a factories that went offline, I think a lot of manufacturers had asked their suppliers to reduce capacity. So we actually, if you look at Volkswagen Group and Mercedes-Benz and BMW, they all want to reduce the capacity of what they were building. So therefore going to suppliers. And demand increased, not
Everyone,
decreased.
they were actually all the OEMs were getting ready for the recession that never happened. It
Yeah,
didn't happen at all, did it? The boom that happened after COVID.
it just didn't. So if you think then, as we gradually came into 2021, new car supply really started to become tight. There was more demand than there were cars. If you think back to the discount levels, I certainly remember my time in BMW, we were doing at the beginning of 2020, 13%, 14% on some deals to try and get cars out the door. We were
Mm,
pushing for manufacturer targets month in, month out.
yep.
By mid 2021, there was zero discount.
Yes.
People didn't talk about pre-registration. People didn't talk about panicking. It was we sold what we had in front of them. And we know that the sales process turned into, is that car available?
Yep.
Yes, I'll have it. And
Yes.
we actually generated during that era a load of superstars who could sell lots of cars just by picking the phone and talking to customers.
Funny
Now,
enough, there was
fast,
a BMW salesperson I spoke to at the time, and it was in 2020, probably three at the time, maybe end of 22. And he was God's gift to salesperson. He didn't need the trading. What is this all about there? Because actually, what you said, the sales process was, yes, valuable. Do you want it? If not, I've got four other customers who want it. Okay. And if they didn't take the order then, okay, they knew their colleague would have sold that car there. And it's quite funny now, Andrew. Where is that salesperson now? Because it dawned on me on this training course. I thought, goodness me, this guy doesn't know the real world of the motor trade. He doesn't know the man from the factory events. He doesn't know the
yeah.
good news letters, okay, the great news letters. He doesn't know because quite frankly, he'd never been in the industry at that point. He didn't have to do it.
No, and on our training course, when we look at road to the sale and we look at the psychology behind selling. We actually talk a lot about the four fundamentals, the four principles of
Mm.
selling, the laws of selling, how you want to dress it up. And we always talk about you've got to, as a minimum, fulfill one. And we talk
Yep.
about comparison being a real driver for the customer knowing if they've got a good
Yep.
deal. I think we majorly focus on today that we've got to create value in our
Yep.
proposition, in our retailers, and in ourselves, and really bring up the customer's expectations and create a fantastic experience for them. However, what we don't talk about so much today is scarcity.
Mm.
Yet scarcity in 2021 and 2022 drove the market. And that
Yep.
was the reason for that was the sales process. I haven't got it. If I sell it, I won't replace it. And almost month in, month out, car values went up.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to say, fast forward October 23 kind of time, that's when we really see the market start turning back to normality.
Mm.
Manufacturers were getting back on top of supply. Cars were now coming through in decent volumes. And used cars now started to gradually drift back to a normal trend. All
Mm.
the way through 2024, we've been having to retail and deal and look after customers and create desire and actually get back to our sales process. But the hangover today is now in 2025, where are all the 3-year-old and 4-year-old cars that are our bread and butter that our used car markets demand that we need to sell because they're just not about. And my big question is, where do our retailers get the cars from?
Hey, well, listen, our sponsor of this, CarWow, are going to be saying, hey, listen, CarWow, okay, it's not just a service where people can buy cars. Actually, you can buy cars through the dealer. So again, I want to talk about that. Some of the dealers, they know exactly with CarWow's buying service. That, listen, they've got a funding proposition they're just launching at the moment as well there. But the sales manager listens to this in a dealership. CarWow, the cars that they're selling is not that 2-year-old to 4-year-old cars. That's the stock that we want, okay? And that's no disrespect to CarWell's offering at all there. How do we find those cars? That's what the customers want, Andrew.
See, from my opinion, these customers and the cars that we're looking at, they're coming into our businesses every single day. And no matter what size of your business, you will have those cars coming in, being looked after by our service departments, getting serviced, getting cleaned, customers paying in the service bill, and off they go for another year. Actually, there's our opportunity. We're seeing those cars come in on a daily basis, and we need to get into the service department.
Yeah, yeah, we do. So listen, we've that's the history lesson. Okay, what's actually happened there, and it's good to recap there. So actually, how do we start getting in and prospecting, speaking to, trying to get those cars there from the service department? So let's kick around some ideas that someone listen to this. The sales manager, head of business, the dealer principal. What can we practically do now to try and get those cars in? So I want to kick around some ideas and I'm going to go back in time that something was so old, but I actually think it's now is the time. I've seen this from a National Automotive Dealers Association, top 20 ideas. And goodness me, Andrew, this must have been 15 years ago. Okay. And a top 20 groups in the National Automotive Dealers Association. Lots of dealers get together. For people who don't know the American market, lots of dealers get together in a group of dealers similar size, but not competing. And they get together once a month and they talk about ideas and they compare what their business is doing to other people's businesses. They share composite information and they kick around ideas of how they can improve their business. And this idea was such a simple idea that actually maybe we need to go back to it. What their guys did is they just got a flip chart, kind of like what's in the back of my office. People who are sitting there listening to this at the moment, it's just a flip chart board that you'll see in any training room up and down the country and every hotel. And they just wrote on top of it, we're currently undersupplied on quality used cars. If you have one of these cars, please speak to Simon in the sales department. And they had a list of the cars they're interested in. Of course, the bit that I really loved, where does the list come from? The previous day's service bookings. So if they knew that the car was coming in, which was a Velar, okay, and it was up to 3 years old, okay, it was coming in for its 40,000, 50,000 kilometer service, okay, up to 50,000 kilometers, okay. Don't narrow it down to owned by Mrs. Casey, okay, and have a retractable tow bar on the back of it. but I actually had a list of the cars. And the reason why I like that, and there's a guy, Willie Stevenson, that did this very effectively in a dealership in Carlo, Ireland. Okay. He just ran with it. The reason why I quite like that, customers drop their car off at the service department. You've got that golden hour where they're waiting to speak to that service advisor. Hopefully not for an hour, sorry, but they're dropping their car off, waiting to speak to someone, and they're reading all the point of sale material. They're reading
Yeah.
the difference between this oil and that oil, and the pollen filter and the micro filter, and the one that's really grey and grimy, and the one that's nice and white. They've seen that all the time. But when they see something like that flip chart paper saying, we're currently understocked, if you have one of these cars, please speak to Simon. Now, here's the thing, the board by itself doesn't work. All the board does is it gives you a phone call credibility. Okay. It gives the phone call
Mhm.
credibility that the customer starts thinking, ah, you want my car. You're interested in my car there. What I would add to that today, something along the lines of, you probably noticed the sale of new cars slowed down a few years ago. There was a global shortage of semiconductors. The knock-on effect of that is good condition, late model, low mileage cars. That's what we're looking for. And then have a list of those cars there. Okay. That's
No,
one I would look at starting with.
I absolutely couldn't agree more with you because in the past, again, let's go back and it's not a history lesson, but it's something that would happen time and time again. If you go back, it's 10 years, 6 years, 5 years even, you would be behind in the week. You'd get the head of business walk into the sales manager's office, throw a list on the desk, go, I've been to service. Here's a list of customers coming
Yep.
tomorrow. Make sure you ring them. As a sales manager, you'd walk into the transaction manager, go, here's a list of service customers. Make sure the team ring them.
It's
Someone on the team would pick the phone and go, oh, here we go again. Your
yep.
car's coming in tomorrow. Can I give you a free valuation? And they would
No,
get a
no.
few
If you're
appointments from
lucky,
it.
Andrew. By the way, that would be
You,
better. But so many times they say you're coming in for more of a service. Are you still happy with your car? Okay. Are
yeah.
you interested in a new car? And of course, if a customer's servicing their car, they're gonna say, "No, I'm not interested in a new car at the moment. Otherwise, I'd be in there to buy a new car there." And again, I'm still hearing that happening day in, day out in dealerships.
Well, we did. I've got to put my hand up and say I was really guilty of this. I'd be right. Okay, you're on service duties tomorrow. You're making the calls. We'd get three appointments. We'd meet them in the morning,
Yep.
and that was the last time we spoke to the customers. The customers almost gave us lip service to get us off the phone.
So
The
how
message
should we?
wasn't that strong.
Yeah. How should we structure that call? So again, a sales manager listening to this, head of business there, how should that call be structured? What should I get my salespeople to say when that the car's coming in the service department, or maybe the car's in the service department? What should the phone call be?
That is the thing to do. From my belief, the car call should come in when the car's with us.
Mm, I like that.
Not before. The car's here. We know it's here. We've checked it in. We've got the opportunity to actually go and check the car first, make the call, but we've got to be good doing. Mr. Customer, I haven't quite a bad time. You're probably aware that, I'm trying to think of the best way of putting it would be, I'm quite a bad time. I'm actually calling from the sales department. I know your car's in for service.
Mm,
Um, Look, this might be a daft question. It's probably the last thing on your mind, but hey, Simon, is there any chance I could buy your car from you? I'd almost be putting it on the back foot, not offering free valuations. Go straight into it.
yeah.
Your customer's going to probably then say one of three things. Well, what's it worth?
Yep.
Absolutely not. I love it. Or why?
Yes.
You're going to get those responses, but we can deal with all three of those in a real good way.
But I just want to go through those again. Three simple things. Uh, Sales managers, heads of businesses, don't get your salespeople to try and sell cars in the service department. Get them to
Mm.
try and buy them. Okay. And there's three simple questions. Hey, Mr. Customer, I know it's a strange question or it's a daft question. I think what that does, Andrew, I love what you said there because it takes the sting out of this call. Okay. It's probably the last thing on your mind because I don't want to wreck our database by trying
Yeah.
to prospect them to death. Okay. How many times customers say, yeah, the third person's called me this month. If I wanted a car, leave me alone there. And we're wrecking our database. Okay. There's any chance we could buy that off you? So, hey, listen, I know it's a strange question. It's probably the last thing on your mind. So, any chance we could buy that back off you? I love the simplicity of that. How do you deal with those three reactions? If people laugh at you, if people say why, or if they say how much, how should we deal with that then?
Well, I think the first thing, if we cover off, well, how much? The customer's probably expecting a price on the phone. The car's with them. They're probably expecting you've already had a look. At which point I say, Simon, without your permission, I wouldn't have even had a look at it. I'm giving a bit of the control back to you as a customer and a bit of respect. But with your permission, when the car's in with my technician on the ramp, are you okay for me to have a good look around it? Also, with your permission, can I get a settlement figure on the car? I wouldn't be asking if they funded it, if it's on finance. Just go in for the assumptive clause that it is. And then when they say, well, yeah, yeah, absolutely do that. Brilliant. Do me a huge favor. When you come back in to pick the car up and before you pay your service bill, will you come and see me? And I'll have the figures sat waiting for you to let you know what we can do for you. And all of a sudden, you've now spiked that inquisitive
Mm.
gene within the customer who's going to go, oh, A, I might not have to pay my service bill. B,
Yep.
I might be getting a great price. We've almost now started the customer. Now, we talk a lot about customers in different buying cycles. And this was a Google stat that your customers potentially up to 18 months before they buy a car, the
Hmm.
end of what we call the passive stage. So if you've got a customer potentially in that 18-month cycle who might have seen the new version of the CRV, who might have been looking at the new Ionic 6, all of a sudden now they're for the rest of the afternoon they're going to start looking at the car in a bit more in depth because we've spiked the knowledge. Once I confirm that up with the customer, I think this is how we finish the call off. We tell them who we are, where we're going to be sat. We're going to be looking forward to seeing them. Can we get them a coffee? Bit of that kind of absolute flair and everything that we do that we're really good when we've got customers in front of us. My last parting question is, but if I could manage to buy your car, Simon, what would
Mm.
you replace it with?
Yeah, I love that. Okay. And that's so important just to do that. If we could buy your car for you, what would you replace it with? But if we've got stock that's 2 to 4 years old and the customer says, nothing, I'm immigrating to Australia. Okay. Or I love the new Bentley. Okay. And it's not a car that you're selling. I would say, who cares? If it's stock that we want, is that really the end of the world? So you'd want to make sure that you're only phoning this of stock that you'd really want.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, I'm working with a really, really great, very ambitious, very driven head of business at the moment with one of our dealer groups, and we kicked this around with him probably about 3 months ago, and he's got the team doing it. He really sees the benefit, and they're buying 2 or 3 cars just a week. They're looking for stock. They're going to
Yeah.
auctions. They're trying to buy stock. And what they've done is they've actually incentivized their team that if they can just buy the car, of course, they're trying to sell the new one. They
Yep.
just buy the car, they'll pay them £50. They'll actually pay them a small commission, buy the car in.
Oh,
All of
you
a
know
sudden, the
what?
team
And
are
why
so
not?
motivated.
They
They're
want
so
to make the
motivated to pick the
calls.
phone up. Yeah,
And why not? Because if you bought a car from an auctions, there's transportation fees. Okay. There's buyers, sellers fees. There's all of that sort of stuff there you need to do. Okay. So why not pay our salespeople 50 quid or $100 wherever you are there to of stock that you'd like from the database? It makes all the sense in the world to do that.
absolutely. And the other thing that he said was a byproduct of that. Not only is he actually paying the team to go and buy the cars, they're fighting over the service diary because actually that they are people coming in our business every single day.
Yep.
When we prospect on a night time, the tradition is 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock, pizza night. Let's hit the phones. Let's make 100 calls and connect to 10 people
Yep.
because no one ever picks the phone up during the day. Yet when the car's in for service, our service team are telling the customer we'll be giving the call with an update. The customer's waiting for a call from the retailer. That when they see the number, what do? They
Yeah.
actually pick the phone up. So the
Yeah.
connection rate, the mindset of
Yeah.
the team who are bringing really works. But here's the thing that he said: the guys who buy the cars in,
Yep.
they know about the car, they know
Ah,
about the owner, they know about the history. So when that car's prepped and on the forecourt and they take an income inquiry, they actually talk with confidence about, well, actually, I've just bought that car back in. Simon, he's gone back to Australia. Lovely guy. Just been for service. We saw it.
we
We
know
had
the
to
car
buy it.
from day one. We've done all the servicing
Yeah.
right from the beginning. Love it. Absolutely love it. Listen, a little bit of a caveat, okay, and a bit of a funny story. We're talking about this process with a lovely guy in a Mazda dealership. Now, we have to go back into a history lesson here, okay? And Mazda had a car, the RX-8. Now, I quite have a soft spot for Mazda, but the RX-8 was not their finest hour, okay? And this was a particular car that had reliability issues. And I hear the Mazda dealers screaming at me at the moment saying, oh no, it's because the customers weren't driving the right way or whatever it was. Doesn't matter, wasn't their finest hour. Okay. We also had a situation that this was an island overnight. The road tax or the VRT or whatever they call it in Ireland there went up to something like 2,100 euros. And the price of these cars dropped through the floor. And there's a lovely guy right in the middle of Dublin. He said, oh, I'm going to try this technique. And purely by accident, he phoned the first customer, had a Mazda RX-8. And he said something along the lines of, hey, listen, I know it's a strange question, probably last thing in your mind, but seeing chance we could buy it off you. To which point the customer said, yes, you can. He went, oh, great. Oh, when's a good time to have a look at it? Through the week or maybe a Saturday? He said, right now, come down and see you right now. This poor lad thought, goodness me, this is a great technique. Let's deal this. So he phoned all the RX-8 customers. I had the head of business at the time say, what the hell have you taught my salespeople? So please, heads of businesses, dealer principals, sales managers, make sure this call is 2 to 4 years old. Is that the sweet spot of the stock you want? And it's
Yeah.
stock that you want. You'll know the cars that you want in your business there. Just say, hey guys, from our database, it doesn't even have to be service. From our database, they're the cars that we actually want. If you can buy those, I'm going to pay you that 100 euros, that $100, £100, something like that. Yeah, don't just willy-nilly phone the cars that you don't want in stock there. But Andrew, let's talk about the objections there because I got to say that there's a presenter in America. He said from stage, I'm going to make a phone call now to live customers, all Madonna mic'd up, and I'm going to make appointments for people from your dealership right here live in front of the audience. I went, wow, balls of steel. And halfway through, I'm scribbling down lots of stuff to, you know how we do a lot of R&D, research and development, or rob and duplicate.
Duplicate.
And halfway through, Andrew, I put my pen down for two reasons. Number one, I can remember everything they were talking about in the heat of the battle when I'm making that call. And number two, I kind of think they were making appointments for appointment's sake.
Mm.
Okay. And I kind of want real appointments someone can deal with, not just appointments for appointment's sake. It's like there's lots of companies out there, and again, I'm not going to knock them, but they have these beer and pizza nights where they make appointments for appointment's sake. And if they're paid on appointments, you're gonna get crap sometimes. Okay. We want real customers to come in there. Okay. But here's the thing. What I learned from that, I said, any prospecting approach that you take, if it's you're going to do a men from the factory event, a VIP event, any sort of, there's so many different events, the golden ticket events, or any prospecting you're going to do. I think dealing with the objection is more important than the script you get you guys to use to start with. I mean, what are the chances that you phone someone and they say, Andrew, you must be a mind reader. I've got the computer in front of me. I'm sitting here specking up the new car as we speak. How did you know it? It's going to be slim, isn't it? So when people say, I can't afford a new car, I want to wait till next year, I want to pay the finance off first. Okay. We can't do it because my wife's pregnant, the family's growing. Okay. I want to keep it. I haven't had it long enough. I only had it for 2 years. I want to keep it for 3 years. No, we want to do it next year. We're going to get that. And too often, Andrew, that's where I see that prospecting falls down. That's where a
Mm.
salesperson says, okay, then, well, I'll speak to you next year. Okay. How should I deal with that objection that they know they're going to get? What techniques could they use?
I think for me, you've got to. You're right. I've sat a prospect with teams. We do that in dealer. We'll spend time with the team and prospect. And you do hear that, all right, thanks for that. Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry to bother you. I'll call you in 12 months' time and put the phone down. I think we've got to at least have a go at handling that objection. And the way that we do that, or I've done that within certain uh, retailers, is almost absolutely. Do you know what? Actually, a lot of my customers said the same thing,
Mm,
and it's almost normalizing the fact that they'll be having those thoughts
mm,
until they realised that if they have the slightest inclination changing the next 12 months, it's probably never been a better time than there is right now. You're almost going into the I'm not telling you, it's just all my other customers are, because actually lots
mm,
of my customers thought the same thing. In fact, if you've got the slightest inclination change in the next 12 months, tends to cover off those people who said, I'm just going to leave for the next 12 months, because linked to how much your car could be worth today. We are really looking for cars like yours. Added to the fact that some of the deals that the manufacturers are manufacturing right now,
mm.
if you've got the slightest inclination changing, it's probably never been a better time than right now. Sam, I'm sure you've heard the old saying, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Hmm.
Why don't
Yeah,
you pop down, let's have a coffee and just see what we can do? And you might be pleasantly surprised in how good this deal could be. You
yeah,
almost just work. Now, you might still get the no,
mm,
but now you might be converting some of those no's to, okay, then let's have a look. You're
yeah,
just
yeah.
giving yourself an opportunity to get that customer down to sit in front of you and then to start wowing them when you get them in front of you.
I love that one because it's one simple thing a salesperson's got to remember, not lots of different things. If a customer says this, then you say that. You can almost use that technique on almost any objection. Like
All of
uh,
them.
if a customer says, I haven't had it long enough, I want to keep it for 2 years. A lot of my customers thought they hadn't had their car long enough till I found out because I've got someone interested in your car, hence the call. And the offers we got from Toyota on new cars, you might be pleasantly surprised. Listen, I'd love to get together, see if we can at least tempt you. They often say nothing ventured, nothing gained. What have we got to lose? That process you can use for almost any objection. And I still believe that is probably as important as your first script. Is that the right word? Your format,
Yeah.
speak to a customer. You're going to
Um,
get,
you are going to get that. And for me, prospecting, it's about you will fail, unfortunately, more than you succeed. And
yeah,
it's trying to keep
exactly.
the mindset right. But if you have the mindset, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, and you're
You will.
getting lots and lots of no's, you will.
Yep.
If you have the conversation, you can now start converting 20% of your telephone calls to appointments, 25. You've got a much better opportunity to come in. Now, here's the thing. These customers are our customers already. They're driving
Yeah.
our product. They like us because they're getting the car service with us.
Yep.
This is real gold. Get them inside your showroom. And the other thing there as well for me, if you look at new cars, a new car offer, if you prospect from a new car team, probably 75 to 80% of your customers are funding the car because of
Yep.
the strength of the offers on new. It's very rare we would get somebody in the business who would spend money on buying a new car. There's too many incentives, either finance deposit allowances, low rate funding, PCP offers. However, in the used car department, this is where we tend to see where there's a 40 to 45% penetration. Sometimes we're missing out half of our customers who paid cash, who are in the market, who might want to change, who just don't get called that often. So if we can hit those in the service department or just prospecting with the message, we might actually be talking to customers who haven't had a telephone call last month,
Yep.
who weren't invited to the last man from event, where maybe we might just actually, open up some more opportunity because those people are ready to change their cars. People do tend to have a change. I think the average change cycle in the UK is still sitting around 32 months. So
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
hitting that 2 to 3 year database. We've got a great opportunity to sell some cars,
Mm.
or at least make some appointments. And let's go and practice prospecting because the more we practice, the better we
Yep.
get. Um, because the other thing I've got, you've mentioned man from events,
Yep.
VIP events, and these events do work. And I'm not
Yep.
going to sit here and say they don't. They absolutely do. But from my own personal experience running them, and I used to get the team really excited. We'd run an event for 2 weeks before the event.
Yeah.
We'd sell less cars.
Yep.
We were prospecting. We were creating appointments. We were telling customers we've got this phenomenal deal, and it's all smoke and mirrors. We'd also then have a phenomenal weekend where we'd be high-fiving, ringing bells, celebrating
Yep.
success, doing 50 deals, 60 deals over a weekend. Go, wow, what an amazing event. And then for the next 2 to 3 weeks,
Yep.
selling minimal cars as we're handing over, but all we've done is pull customers forward into the event.
Yeah.
Actually, this way, I'd much rather make 10 telephone calls, make 2 or 3 appointments, get to sit in front of two customers and deal one
Yep.
than try and absolutely bombard it. And I can almost see that now happening. Some of the retail groups that we work with, where they've had a huge event, they've had massive success. And now back end September gone, it's gone really quiet because all we've done is we pulled those customers forward. So we've got to work harder than ever now to actually get those customers through the door.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Service, what a great opportunity to do such a thing.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to what Frank Betcher said all those years ago. I'm pretty sure it was him. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. Because you
Yeah.
know what, prospecting, I got to say, again, I'm talking to the heads of business here, dealer principals, sales managers. We go in dealerships all the time. Last time I made some of these prospecting calls was last week. Okay. The phone still gets heavy for me. I train this shit for a living. Okay. And heads of businesses, when you just throw the list at your salespeople, say, phone these people, sales managers, tell you what, make the call first. When the salespeople see you make the call, okay, I promise you, it works almost better when you stuff it up because they sit there and think, oh, I could do that. And by the way, if you want to contact myself, contact Andrew, just send an email into the head office and we'll give you some formats to follow, okay? And I promise you, once you make a call like this and they see the salespeople see that you're not getting resistance from it, they're more likely to do it. Okay. And that's if you pay people to buy cars or not. Some accountants will say we're mad on that. We're not going to do that one. And obviously you have to deal with what you can. But also what Frank Betcher said is, think that through. If you make 10 calls, five people politely tell you to go away. Okay. Out of the other five, two people say, well, give me a price of my car over the phone. You called me. Okay. Guess what? I'm going to go look at the deal and stack it. Okay. It's not ideal, but maybe I will. I'll probably make three appointments. One of those appointments, Andrew, I know won't ever turn up. Okay. They're just making the appointment to get me off
Yeah.
their back. Of that, two will turn up. And of the two, we might do a deal with one. So 90% of my effort's been wasted, you might think. But actually, if that one deal's worth £100 to your salesperson, every call's worth a tenner. Again, you might want to try something like that to let them know every time you pick up the phone. If the customer buys or doesn't buy or says, I'm not interested, thank you very much, it's worth £10 to them. Okay, remember, some will, some won't. So what? Next. Okay. This got into prospect now, but you know what? That's the market we're in. We need to find these cars, okay? And they're coming in the service department. So I want to leave people with this as well. With prospecting, once you've made the appointment, you've got to work harder on that customer that you've dragged forward than you do a walk-in or an
Yeah.
email or a phone call. Because I want you to think about someone who's emailed you, phoned you, or walked in. They've done, what is it, Andrew? 19 hours and 42 minutes of research.
Yeah.
Okay. They know all about the car. They know what they want. Okay. We're dragging people forward. So you've got to spend longer on the demonstration drive. You got to do more of the presentation. And too many times I get salespeople at that point there say, yeah, can we buy a car? Great. They just put in front of the customer. There you go. We'll pay you 22,000 for your car. And the customer goes, no, what? Don't be silly. Do you know what I paid for that car? And again, we're wrecking that customer. We're wrecking that database when customers come back. So I want to leave this with you. You've got to work harder on a prospective customer than a walk-in. Okay, you have to, and you might say, well, we're trying to sell them exactly the same car. Tough. You've got to get them in that car again and take them for a drive and show them the slight differences that happen over the last 2 to 4 years of having their car. Show them the upgrades that they have on it. Don't just go and put numbers in front of people because it's just not going to work.
No,
It's not going to work.
you're absolutely right, and I think the biggest thing you had a guest on the podcast not so long ago, a gent called Harry Bott,
Mm,
and I think he talked a lot about rockstar management, and
yeah,
I took lots away from that. If we get that customer into the showroom, why don't we treat them like, and to coin his phrase, a rock star? Let's
yeah,
give them the experience where they think, do you know what? Yeah, this is the place I want to spend my money. These are the people I want to transact with, and I do want to buy a new car. You don't get that by going, your car's worth that. What do you think?
yeah. So true.
And that does happen too often. And just to leave that, finally, I was in a dealer group last week where the general sales manager was talking about an experience of the customer. The customer came in, didn't want to drive the car, just wanted figures because he wasn't sure he could afford it. Present before the present the figures, the GSM got involved. Went, has he driven it?
Mhm.
No. Well, why are you going to give him figures? Yeah, he just wants figures to know he can afford it. No, no, no. He's not having figures. He's driven the car. Go and showcase the car. Get out for a drive. Amazingly, that customer pushed his budget from £500 to nearly £750 because he wanted the car, because he
Desires raised.
felt like what a car to drive. The £500 was the budget that he told the exec. It wasn't his real budget.
Yeah.
Again, if we're doing that with our appointments, we drive the credibility. They'll come and go, they're only paying £400 a month. You only want to spend £400 now. How do I put £500 in front of them? Get them out, get them to drive it, get them excited, build that rapport, build the excitement. We can walk those payments up a bit.
Yeah. Guys, well, listen, thank you very much for listening to this one. If you want one of our team to turn up your dealership and show you how to do these things, just reach out to us and we'll come in and we'll show you guys how to do this and how to set it all up and how to continue. It's not a beer and pizza night. That's not what we do. But what we'll do is we'll show you how to set up a continual process to keep on going forward there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andrew, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn. Thank you.